Good morning, guys. It is October 3rd, 2021, and we are
driving.
We are driving to yet another day of dock diving. It's a dog event that Lisa's lab and some of my whippets enjoy, and at some point in the future, some of our whippets, the younger crew that we share, will be doing the same. If you're curious, look it up. There's 2 organizations in the U.S., and it's a lot of fun. Dogs love it, but sometimes you have to drive really far away to get there. And because the big brown dog, who is currently sleeping in the back, passed out. Tucker. There he is. He is an awesome dog diver. And so we don't mind getting up hella early and driving 3.5 hours. So he can jump off a dog. Anyway, this is technically video number 9. I could say it's 8.5 because we cut off mid-sentence last night, but it was dark, my battery was dying, and there was a few police officers who probably would not appreciate us having our dome light on and chatting away while we drove. So, as I've said in all of the videos, what we record and what we're talking about, it's a sharing of opinions. Lisa and a few of her family members and a few of her friends have spent years fascinated with learning about and investigating paranormal activity on their own. Like so many in the country and I guess worldwide, they don't have any formal education. There is no degree. So that's why I always add the caveat of this is opinion. Comment sections are a wonderful thing. If you have any shared ideas that you would like to discuss, anything that you've experienced in your own investigations, any questions or comments, please feel free. Ideas. We do ask that we keep it civil because, as we've said, it's opinions, and we do understand that some people feel very passionate about this topic, for, against, and in between, and we are not trying to change anyone's mind. We are not trying to offend. We're simply sharing ideas. So last night we had a series of short videos about perhaps the darker side of hauntings or occurrences that might happen, and we started talking in depth about Lisa's ideas surrounding shadow figures, shadow people, slim men, that energy mass that is named commonly shadow people at this point in time. And right as the video was cutting off, I almost retaped the entire video, but I didn't want to lose that content. I thought we were really discussing good things. But right as the video cut off, Lisa was discussing the stress point, or the stress on the minds of those investigating when they realize that this might actually indeed be a shadow figure, not just the catchphrase that the people living in the area say they have in their house. Because since that phrase is all over the media right now, they might not have a shadow figure, but they think that phrase, and so that's what they relay. However, if the investigators, the psychic medium, the person coming in to help discovers that this truly is a shadow figure, they have to make some hard decisions on if they're going to carry on with their own investigation, or if they're going to hand this off to someone who might have more abilities. And the sentence that we were on was literally what these things, in Lisa's opinion or experience, and those that she works with and she has learned from herself, what they can do. They can possess. They feed off of negative energy, and if you think of what that means, that's chaos. It's pain, fear, self-loathing, hatred towards other people. And because they are almost parasitic, seeking that energy, they have a tendency to make it worse. Because the worse it is for you, the better it is for them. Okay, so that's where we left off. I'm not sure how much more she has to say on that particular topic, but I want to give her the chance since I did cut us off mid-thought. There you go.
Oh, is it my turn?
Yes, it's your turn.
Good
Hi.
morning. Yeah, so like I was saying last night, shadow people are few and far between. You're not going to come across them on a everyday haunt. Claims that draw the attention to an investigator of that it may actually be a shadow person or a negative entity, non-human entity doing the haunt is, like I said, feelings of depression,
Suicidal
thoughts, thoughts of hurting loved ones. Some people will say they hear voices. Some people will say, we were perfectly fine in our marriage. Our family was perfect. Great. We had our normal ups and downs, but once we moved here and started noticing things, I noticed that my spouse changed and that I changed. We were fighting more than ever, and we were just aggressively attacking ourselves, each other, or our children, or whatever. But we notice when we leave the house, it stops. But as soon as we re-enter the house, you get that feeling, whatever, and our children are acting out. It's affecting everything, even down to the animals, maybe more aggressive or more withdrawn, lethargic, whatever. Like I was saying that, last night when we ended, that these beings, these energies, these negative entities, non-human, have numerous abilities. They do feed off of your fear. They thrive on negativity, chaos, mayhem, evil, anger, destruction, depression, all negative things, where they can cause an individual to thinking of self-harm or harming someone they would never think of harming, acting out in a different way. They can also affect your health, where people will say all of a sudden, I was perfectly healthy and I moved here and I'm sick constantly. We don't know what it is. I've been to numerous doctors. They can't figure it out, but I have these increasing abdominal pains that get worse and worse. People have had numerous heart attacks, strokes, mini strokes, things like that these entities are causing because they're building and building and building the energy of the stress and negativity level on a subconscious level that you're not aware of. You don't realize that you're snapping at everyone around you. Everything around you is making you angry and just hateful. And so it affects your system, your respiratory system, your cardiovascular system. It can represent things where, you can have ulcers. It can simulate cancer and things like that, and cause the mind to think it has an illness, but you actually don't have it. So when you go to medical people, doctors and specialists, they can't find anything for the reasons they can't, they agree that you're having these things, but they have no proof of it. There's nothing there, to explain, the abdominal pain or the chest pain or the, whatever it may be, the headaches, the migraines, and the restless nights, the not sleeping, the vomiting, the nausea, the whatever. These things can cause this to happen because they want you to be as unhappy and unhealthy and just total feel like I give up. There's no one that can help me. I've been to doctors, they have no idea. I've taken every medicine I can think of. I've Googled it. I've, had friends tell me, well, try this and this, and I've tried everything, and there's nothing left, I mean, some people will turn to prayer, and sometimes that also causes the activity to amp up because it's a negative entity, so bringing in the religious aspect of it may upset it more so to where you're going to start acting out violently more so than you were before. So these are all reasons why paranormal investigators, when we do our interviews and our research into the things, when we come across the actual possibility of a true shadow person, you want to tread lightly into that area because it can then turn its interest onto you. Like, oh, okay, so you're trying to get rid of me. Fine. I'll just attach to you. And I'll come home with you and start doing these things to you and your family. Or whatever. And even though you may be helping the person, you're hurting yourself or your members of your team. And there's so many different aspects to it, to a shadow person. Different realms that it could be, evil, malicious, just prankster or whatever, but it's all negative. That you want to turn it over to someone who is more experienced and possibly educated and schooled in dealing with these types of entities. Like, there are professional demonologists out there who, for lack of a better word, I guess that's what it was termed as back then, as a demonologist, someone who studies in negative entities and knows how to disband them and disperse of their energy. If you go about it wrong and do a cleansing to rid this energy from a dwelling, it could make it worse. It could make it 10 times worse. And you're hurting more than helping. You can upset the entities. You can, disrupt the energy flow to a point to where you piss it off. And then it's just all hell bent on, oh, you thought that was bad, I'm going to show you what's bad. And like I said, some of these entities can actually do a physical possession where they take over someone's body and cause them to do things. Where there's documented cases of people who were just perfectly normal, and then for some reason, in a millisecond, their whole demeanor changes. Their expression changes. They look menacing. They look angry. They look, totally different. Their tone of voice changes. Not necessarily they start talking like someone else, but they start speaking more aggressively. There are documented cases where they've actually spoken different languages, and stuff like that. And, so that's why we tend to go, oh, wait a minute. Let me check this out a little bit before I even step foot into this area. Because, I'm no expert.
Right. And I guess there are certain more well-known investigators that, and now this is sort of clicking in my brain, because, again, for those who watched all of the videos and listened to my side of the babble, I'm a less of an educated, less of a believer in these things. I find it interesting, but I have a lot of questions because I'm questioning a lot. I guess that's the only way to put it. But there are certain investigators that have become more popular or more well-known over the years. And the interesting thing that clicked when you said all of this is the certain group that I am thinking of right now, their MO is to go in, investigate, debunk if they can, find the history of the place, figure out what it is, but then at the very end of the investigation, they don't just rake in the money, tell the homeowners, okay, I'm going to fix this for you. Their thing is, okay, we have figured it out. We know what it is and what it's not. And these are the specialists that you need to call. It's not us. It's the shaman, it's the healer, it's the cleanser, it's the psychic medium, it's a full-on exorcist. Right. And these are the people you need to, and then we're stepping back. We're not going to take the glory onto ourselves because we'll probably screw something up or hurt ourselves or hurt you. Our job is to investigate.
Right. Well, true, and that's what we do is we investigate and we get to a certain point. It's just like any other type of investigation in any other realm, area of expertise. Police come across the crime. They do their investigation as far as their skill and ability can take them. And then they may have to turn it over to a detective who specializes in homicide or
at the end of it, they also hand it over to the judge and the jury.
Exactly.
I guess that's a better example of what we're talking about is the police investigate, but they don't try. And they hand it over at the end. We have figured it out. We've solved the case. Here it is. Right. Now it's your turn.
Right, and that's the same thing. Like I was saying, that good paranormal investigators will do. You can only go so far. Our goal there is to, as a group of individuals, is to debunk it in order to prove it, to prove your claim. Once we're done investigating and debunking and we've proven what it is and what it isn't, then we go to the steps of, okay, this is our area of expertise to either settle it down or rid you of it. If it's an entity or a being that's far more advanced than our skills.
So usually a non-person.
Right.
A not past person, as we were using that phrase.
Right. Some other, shadow being, evil entity, poltergeist, whatever you want to call it. That is, we find, is beyond our realm of specialty. Then we go into okay, here are some things you can do. Give them the skills that they themselves can do to protect themselves until you get in touch with this person and this person, or this type of person. Not necessarily to give them a list of names. If you have them, that's great. But if not, maybe call in your local pastor, minister, priest, whatever, and ask them to come and bless the house. Things like that, that, I can't do. You could do it, but
you'd probably not do it the right way.
Probably not do it the right way. And things like that. So you refer them. You give them a referral, and then, yes, you do step back, but you don't step out. You step back into the shadow, but you're always there to guide and mentor everyone else through the process. So if the client, homeowner, whatever, has questions and concerns, they can come back to you. Is, well, they did this, and then this happened. Why is that? Try to offer your opinions and explanations, and also be a middle person between the homeowner or the client and the next investigator. Because once again, like we said, they could say, I have shadow people. And then you can, they're going to tell that to every person they talk to. Until it's proven to them that they don't. And then when you're talking to, as a paranormal investigator, is handing the case over to someone else, be like, they are convinced they have a shadow person entity. But our research is here, and this is what we have found. We feel that we're not capable of handling this. You're better equipped to handle this, but this is what we have found and think it is, so then they can go off of what we have found and add their expertise to that and figure out a final outcome. It's not as easy as walking into someone's house, looking around and going, whatever, this house is clean. It's not that easy, it's a lot, so I don't know, I guess that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I guess.
Negative entities, unless you have any questions, they do, I'll leave that for another.
Yeah, we can leave that for, this is good, and we're at about 20 minutes, so.
Okay.
All right, we'll end it here, and we'll pick up in a little bit.
Nice.